Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the next webinar in our Bedroq Law Enforcement series. My name is Tim Hollis. I'm the Business Development Manager over at Bedroq for Police nationally, and I hope to be speaking with many of you a bit more in the future. Today, we'll be looking at our Bedroq Capture service for ANPR and the work we're currently doing with Greater Manchester Police, which Mike is going to cover for you shortly. We do encourage questions, and there is a Q&A field for you to post these in to be answered at the end of the session. This webinar will also be recorded and emailed out to you later today, so please don't feel like you need to absorb everything straight away. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to pass over to my glamorous assistant, Mike, to talk everything ANPR. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is my first webinar, so I just wanted to make an introduction to you all. My name's Mike Cummins, and I recently joined Bedroq as a technical architect in June of this year. I was previously the head of IT for Counter-Terrorism Policing North East, and before that I was in their technical surveillance unit for over 10 years. I have a lot of operational experience in video, audio and tracking, which is where I fit in looking after Bedroq's police customers with CCTV and ANPR solutions. Some of the work I did for CTP included deploying and managing ANPR cameras, and we use them all the time for investigations and surveillance, so I'm well aware of the key role they play in policing as well as some of the challenges around that. My email is at the bottom of this slide. If you'd like to get in touch, please do so. So I'd like to start by talking about the current situation with ANPR in many forces. I worked as part of a regional unit that crossed over 7 forces, as well as assisting elsewhere in the UK, so I know a lot of you are in the same boat. There's a lot of aging servers out there that aren't being properly maintained due to people's workloads and a lack of funding for more staff. Some forces have made an effort to move to new systems, or better yet, shifted their ANPR into the cloud for better performance, but there seem to be a lucky few rather than the majority. A lot of the specialist fields like ANPR get used all the time and seen by management as absolutely critical, but then when it comes to putting in the time and effort to maintaining these systems that drive the functions, it doesn't always make it onto the priority list. The next issue affecting specialist fields such as ANPR is the bus factor. How many of you have complete resilience in terms of knowledge of your systems? I bet a lot of you have one person looking after your systems who, if they disappeared overnight, you'd be left stranded. This is quite common for many specialist systems. There's a gradual build-up of knowledge for a small team of people, and if they're not available, the force can be left without a critical function. It's no secret that the government is asking too much of policing in general. They're making huge budget cuts and expecting all the same output. IT teams are getting smaller and smaller all the time and being asked to do more and look after more systems. So how can Bedroq help? Well, we offer a private cloud ANPR solution in our police and home office approved secure data centres, which are fully resilient and all in the UK. Our packages are tailored to the force. Some need more than others, so we can be flexible on all requirements and SLAs. Some forces might only need their servers hosting. Some are after a complete solution. We cater for both and everything in between. For example, our complete package would be everything from the front-end camera installation and ongoing maintenance, vehicle kit installations, application maintenance and updates, server hosting, connectivity solutions, and integration with other systems. Everything you need for a turnkey ANPR solution, basically. We also do all of the hard work in development and innovation. We design and test new solutions, and the great thing about that is that our findings for one force can easily become useful to another, so the knowledge and development gets shared across all of our customers. Next on the agenda for today is our success with one of our current customers, Greater Manchester Police. This has had some attention in the news recently, so I thought it would be good to discuss. GMP are happy for us to share that they are a customer of ours using our complete end-to-end service. We take care of everything with their ANPR systems, from installing the roadside cameras to development and install of their car kits as well as complete hosting and support package. Our data center is integrated with their Force PNN network, so they have access to everything from everywhere that they need it. We've gone on to roll out the advanced Cleartone app to their officers' Force mobile phones, giving them tons of functionality in their pocket. This has led to a massive increase in vehicle seizures, as you can see in the Manchester Evening News here. The app is really easy to use. For starters, it lets you use biometrics for login, so you don't need to remember yet another username and password. You just put your finger on and it logs you in, which is great. So as you can see here, it gives us quite a few features to use from the main menu. We can start with a basic manual vehicle check, which will do a search for make, model, colour, as well as an intel check. The results are extremely quick, and even in a low signal area, can still come back in under a second. Next on the main menu is search reads. As you can see here, I put in a VRM for a search along with the start date, finish date, and a reason for the check. On the next screen is a list of results. A list of results is returned, and if I want to see the full information, I can click on an item in that list and it will go into the full details, which you can see an example of here on the right. An amazing capability to have right in there in every officer's pocket, I'm sure you'll agree. Moving down on the menu, we have alarm stack. As you can see here, we have to choose which hot list we want to look at and also which cameras we would like to use. At the bottom there we have follow me and normal. Normal mode will give alerts on all cameras selected, whereas if you click follow me, it will ask you for a radius, as you can see on the right. This means it will only generate alerts within your chosen radius, as the phone will send your location to the server at short intervals and will only give alerts that are within that radius. Good to use if you want to make sure you get an alert that you can actually get to in time. The ANPR capture option, I feel, is the start of a great idea. They are working towards this being live video, but at the moment you can take a photo of a VRM and it will check it against the database. At the moment, it's probably easier and quicker to just type it in on a normal manual search. But in the not too distant future, this will give you the ability to use your smartphone's camera as an ANPR camera right in your pocket. The app will watch the video stream from your phone and send in every VRM for comparison. Useful to know for now, but in the future it will become much more useful. Last on the menu, but arguably one of the most important features, is live check. From here you can do a quick and easy PNC check and get the whole result straight back to the screen yourself. This one pretty much speaks for itself, but good to show how easy it is to use. Certainly easy to use than PNC itself anyway. And also just worth mentioning that you can pinch and zoom on that result, so it's not just tiny text like you see on the picture there. GMP's ANPR manager, John Middleton, was kind enough to make a short video with us highlighting some of the success they've had since moving over to Bedroq capture. So I'd just like to play that to you now.
My name's John Middleton. I'm the CCTV and ANPR manager with Greater Manchester Police. ANPR cameras play an absolutely vital role in law enforcement across the country and in Greater Manchester Police. Originally our cameras were centred around the city centre and Manchester Airport, and then gradually more and more cameras were rolled out across Greater Manchester because I think it was realised it's such an effective tool, not only for security against terrorist attacks, but also for fighting crime and road safety as well. Previously, we dealt with a number of different contractors, a number of different suppliers. That creates a lot of logistical issues, complexity issues, and it's intensive for police officers and police staff that are dealing with that as well. What we wanted is to achieve simplicity and basically have a company like Bedroq do the hard work for us, really. People with expertise, external expertise, that could not only look after our current infrastructure and replace our current infrastructure, but people kind of got their fingers on the pulses and have expertise around future technologies that we could exploit. If there's a problem, I go to Bedroq, can you fix it? Or if there's a potential technology on the horizon, for example, it might be something around having more flexibility to redeploy ANPR and CCTV cameras. I can say to Bedroq, can you tell me what the solution to this issue is? We have an operation called Operation Naseby that runs in Salford. Salford went through a phase of having a large number of firearms discharges. Operation Naseby proactively uses ANPR in conjunction with specially trained officers who can carry out pursuits. On that operation, they'll monitor the ANPR cameras, they'll intercept vehicles. Just in a couple of years, they've had something in the region of over 270 arrests. They've seized a huge number of vehicles. And they've achieved a really dramatic reduction in the number of firearms discharges because of the part that ANPR played in it. It's about using expertise that exists there within the private sector to support and advise the police rather than us trying to do everything ourselves. And that's ultimately what partnership is all about, whether it's with the private sector or with the public sector.
Thanks again to John for taking the time to create that video with us. That takes us nicely on to the next thing we help GMP with, which is their third-party integrations. GMP have been a driving force in putting the effort into getting access to as many ANPR cameras as physically possible, and we're doing the back-end work to make that a reality. We've given them the ability to ingest data from any source available to them. As you can see on the diagram, there's ANPR everywhere. It's just a matter of finding a way to bring that read data into your back office, which is where we come in. GMP take care of the permissions with things like private businesses. They present a case to the right people to demonstrate the benefits of sharing the data, and we take it from there. We work with all different systems, so it doesn't matter which system the third party uses. We can always translate that data and make it work, bringing all the reads into GMP's system. We know from other forces it's not always easy, but once the hard work is done, you can end up with a really feature and data-rich system right in your pocket. For example, with GMP, we have gained the trust of multiple private companies and use their ANPR cameras in hotspot areas to feed into GMP's back office. We understand the issues in gaining permissions for systems like this, and we can help with the entire process. So to wrap up this webinar, I just wanted to give you an overview of the benefits we've discussed today. Switching to Bedroq Capture for ANPR gives you a complete private cloud-hosted, highly optimized system that is monitored 24/7 by vetted, trained engineers, kept up to date with patches, firmware and software updates, and kept in line with national standards. We've discussed Cleartone today, but we can do all of this work on any of the competitor systems too, like NDI, for example. We take care of all the compliance work, ISO accreditation, third-party agreements, and can even help you with your initial data protection documents. Our system is redundant across multiple data centres within the UK and has instant failover in the event of an issue. We use our experience with other customers to help provide you with a better service, always looking for ways to improve. Most importantly, it leaves you with the time to focus on your operational priorities. The last thing I would like to mention is our video analytics service, Bedroq Seek. We have the ability to use AI to extract ANPR reads from any normal CCTV camera, effectively turning public space CCTV cameras into a dual-purpose device. This can be done lifetime or retrospectively and could prove really useful for many investigations. We'll be covering this in a future webinar in more detail, but here's a quick look at the ANPR function. This is the main user interface of the system. As you can see, we can search for all kinds of data, but I'm just going to focus on license recognition at the moment. You go into the system and add the plate that you're looking for. What that does is looks through its database of ones that it's already found, and when I complete the search, you'll see it shows me the little clips of the results. From here, I can click into one of the results and it'll show me a short video, and I can go on to see the entire original clip. Thank you for listening today. I'll now go back to Tim.
Thank you, Mike. That was brilliant and obviously highlights really well the great partnership we've got with GMP and the work we're doing with them on ANPR. Thank you everyone for your contributions in the Q&A field. We've had some really good questions in there. So firstly, Mike, if you don't mind answering a couple. We've got someone asking, is it only Cleartone that you work with, or could you host a QRO bot, for example?
No, so at the moment we are we're just talking about Cleartone today, but we are completely vendor agnostic. So we can either migrate you to a different system, or we can stick with what you've got and take over the support of that in our UK data centres. Real good question, thank you.
Thank you. The next question we've got here is it possible for you to come and visit us to discuss our ANPR requirements?
Yeah, absolutely. If you'd like to get in touch with us, we'll definitely come down to see you for a chat through. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question we've got posted is this an AWS or Azure cloud or on-prem?
So it's neither. We are talking about our own Bedroq private UK data centres, which are Home Office and Police approved. We have 2 sites in the UK which are completely redundant to each other, both in very separate geographic locations, and yeah, well, that's where they're hosted. So thank you.
Excellent. What is the size of whatever database that we use and the volumes that we deal with?
That depends on the size of the system. They're typically somewhere around 10 terabytes for the SQL databases for ANPR, but that is entirely dependent on the customer's preference for retention and what the cache looks like. But we can deal with almost any size of database.
Thank you. And the final question we've got today is, have you looked into integration with the national data set?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure about that. We do integrate with all of the national systems, the NAS, etc. I'd have to look into that. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mike. That looks like all of the questions for today. Thank you everyone for attending today. We hope you all found it informative and learned a bit more about what Bedroq do. We'll be at the ANPR conference in November, so hopefully we'll see a lot of you there. Please do come over and say hi and have a chat a bit more about our ANPR services in more detail. As mentioned on the slide there, it's worth reminding you all about the next webinar in our law enforcement series, which is due to take place on the 14th of December. This will cover our Bedroq Seek service, and we'll look at the video analytics tools available to police forces, as you saw briefly with the license plate recognition at the end of Mike's presentation. Anyway, that's everything for today. Thank you again for joining us, and please reach out to us directly if there are any questions that we haven't answered for you today. Enjoy the rest of your week, and goodbye.